I was diagnosed with systemic lupus, and who knows how to actually say the final word in that, but SLE for short, in 2009. However, it took from about 2003, 2004, like through to 2009 for me to actually get diagnosed, but I did have symptoms as early as 2003, 2004. I've been on disability since 2018, and it took me having to go off work a couple of times for smaller bits of time. I think the first one was about 3 months, and then I was off for 2 years. Then I went back to work for a couple of years, and then finally off on permanent disability since 2018. The effects of that on my life are, well, vast, because number one, it affects the rest of my life's earning potential into retirement, quality of life, what I can possibly anticipate for retirement in terms of finances, which is going to be very little, to be honest. And it affects your mental state, because if you are suddenly no longer a person in the workforce and you're only, 50, it definitely affects your feelings about yourself. There's a vast array of emotions that you go through, but then the idea that your identity is challenged and so on in terms of no longer being a working person. Fatigue is just so debilitating whenever it becomes extreme, and fatigue can range from mild, meaning about 75% of what energy I had pre-lupus diagnosis, to being completely couch bound, where I have to sleep all day, and that would be in a complete flare, and it ranges everywhere throughout. For me, the second largest challenge is brain fog. And with brain fog, the loss of words, inability to put sentences together, can't concentrate on what you're doing. So that is quite a difficult symptom to live through, because I often wonder, do people think I'm dumb, like I can't come up with a sentence? But it's really just that the brain can't find words. So whenever you're diagnosed, the first medication that is sort of like the frontline defense for lupus is Plaquenil or hydroxychloroquine. And so it's the first one that everybody goes on. And with all of these meds, you have to be on it for like a good 6 to 8 weeks before you know if it's going to have any effect on your symptoms. And if you're still, if the patient is still not getting enough relief, then a new medication is added on top of the Plaquenil. So you don't stop taking the other one, a new one's added on top of it. And it's usually either Imuran, which is what I take, or methotrexate. Anyway, so taking prednisone is sort of that last ditch effort for anybody whose lupus is not, I guess, in the life-threatening category. Side effects of the lupus medications are hugely numerous. That Plaquenil can be toxic to some part of the eye. So I have to get specific vision tests done every year by my eye doctor to check to make sure that I'm not getting this toxicity from Plaquenil. So bruising is huge. Nausea, loss of appetite is an ongoing thing. Now, last, glucocorticoid, as it is both a miracle drug in the sense that it can, take a flare and stop it in its tracks, almost, dead stop. But the number of side effects and sort of just the body, to be honest, the body devastation that comes from glucocorticoids is extreme. Whenever you're on prednisone for a lengthy amount of time, you can develop something that's called Cushing's syndrome, where you put on a whole pile of weight in your torso and your face. All that was a disfigurement to me. And I found that very hard to live with. For the years that I had Cushing's, I didn't feel like myself at all. I didn't look like myself. And it was basically a disfigurement. But I'm now permanently adrenal suppressed. So my adrenal glands have stopped working. So now I need to take prednisone just to live, because without my body's ability to adjust cortisol as needed, if I was in, say, a car accident, I would go into shock extremely fast, which can be quite fatal. So I have to carry around injectable, like a huge dose of injectable prednisone-like medication. Prednisone makes all of the tissues in your joints much more fragile. And then I've also had torn meniscuses, I'm not sure if that's the plural, or menisci, whatever, in both knees. So I've had to have knee surgery a few times because of these, medications and the disease itself changing the tissues of the knees. And I also went into early menopause because of prednisone, and my bone density currently is affected. I had a very recent scan and it showed that there was a significant decrease. So now I need to go to an osteoporosis specialist.